Age Dynamics, and this is the Agency Arms M&P 1.0 and 2.0. If you're familiar with Agency Arms, it's probably because of the work they do on Glocks, the awesome craftsmanship that they apply to the Glock platform, which makes it better functionally and more appealing aesthetically, because the Glock's kind of, well, square. The M&P is a package they also offer. For those of you who are a fan of the M&P handgun, again, it's not as popular as the Glock, which I've never really understood. There are some things about the stock M&P I don't really care for, mainly the trigger. Never been a really big fan of that trigger. The 1.0 trigger to me is awful, and the 2.0 trigger, while an improvement, still needed further improvement, which is why I'm glad Agency Arms offers a package for the M&P, both the 1.0 and the 2.0. For the 1.0, you're going to get what Agency Arms is really known for, which is their slide work. Framework is also important. We'll talk about that next, but the slide work is where it's at for a lot of people, because that's the part of the gun that we tend to manipulate more, whereas the grip we just kind of hold. You're going to get enhanced slide serrations with forward cocking serrations. This particular gun is the Urban package. I've had this one for about 2 years. This was my first Agency Arms M&P. Now, I'm a fan of the M&P because it has metal magazines. I love guns with metal magazines because metal magazines tend to come out of the guns more reliably, regardless of the conditions the firearm is placed in, when compared to a polymer magazine in the same conditions. So as far as that goes, I've always been a fan of the M&P. I also like the way the M&P feels. That is a very subjective subject. I'm not going to say it's more pointable or any nonsense like that. I'm just going to say for my hand size, the M&P has always been a little bit more ergonomic than what I get from, well, the Glock. And as far as framework goes, whereas Glocks, you know, your Gen 3s and some of your other generations, you'd have to remove those finger grooves if your hand size didn't really agree with them. The M&P, you've never really had that issue. At least I haven't had that issue with the M&P. Even with the 1.0, you've got some standard features that are nice, like the ambidextrous magazine, or I should say slide release. Agency left all that stuff alone. As far as branding, really little tiny A, it's not a big deal. Some people think the Agency Arms logo on the gun is a little too big, and I've been like, well, everybody brands their stuff because that's the yay capitalism. As far as framework goes, if you're familiar with Agency Arms thumb accelerator, that ledge that they apply to the polymer frame so you can apply more downward pressure on the gun as you shoot. The cool thing about the M&P is they're able to go even deeper than what you see on the Glock, so you get even more of a positive ledge to keep the gun flat as you're shooting. And that's pretty much my 1.0 package. I didn't put an RMR on this particular gun. I use this when I teach iron sight only defensive handgun classes, or defensive handgun classes, because most of the students are going to show up to that class are going to run iron sights, so I teach with an iron sight gun. Not really a carry gun because I carry a dot gun, which brings me to the Agency Arms M&P 2.0. This is my new everyday carry gun, Agency Arms 2.0, full size in 9mm. And you'll probably notice that it's OD green two-tone. I even managed to find me one of the OD green RMRs because, well, I like OD green. Another cool feature about the 2.0, again, the trigger is just as good. The triggers on both the 1.0 and the 2.0 are amazing. It's a very good reciprocal relationship between Agency and Apex. Currently, the Agency bar is used where the Apex bar is used. And they're using the Agency trigger shoe, which I like. I don't like hinged triggers like what comes standard on the M&P. Just not really a big fan of them. The Agency trigger, both on the 1.0 and the 2.0, has a very short take-up, crisp break. If you're familiar with that terminology, the wall is consistent. It's there, but it's not super hard to push through. Your weights, depending on what you choose, coming in there between 3.5 to 4.5 pounds. You can, I believe, get it heavier if you like. I had mine done, my 2.0 done, with the new Armor stipple package. Catherine over at Agency Arms, she's a stipple genius, and she came up with this pattern. It's pretty much unique to Agency Arms at the moment, and it's super aggressive. I went super aggressive because stippling is going to wear down over time. The micro dot on my 1.0, after just about 2 years of teaching, and some of the micro dot stippling I had on my Glocks, the more I use them, the more it wears down. While it still does provide more positive grip than I'm going to get from say a standard Glock or standard polymer, most of the standard polymer handguns are out there, it's not aggressive enough for my particular taste. So with the Armor package, and again, this is going to wear down too, but this is going to last a whole lot longer. This gun is only a few months old, whereas I have the Armor package, one of the prototype Armor packages on a Glock 17 that's over a year old now, and it's still just as grippy. In fact, if I'm wearing a really, really nice cotton sweatshirt, I can actually stick the gun to the sweatshirt and take my hand off it and it'll stay there. Maybe I should do a video on that. No, probably not. But Framework remains the same. You're going to get that same aggressive thumb accelerator as you get with the Glock or the M&P 1.0. Now, I've had many questions about this gun when people have seen it on Instagram or in a YouTube video or in classes. Why M&P? People thought I was a Glock fanboy, or I was just, another way to say it is I'm just Glock loyal because I like Glock. I go where quality is. I'm not brand loyal if there's other quality out there that offers me something a little bit better than what I'm maybe getting from another company. I do appreciate Glock for what it is. It's a great tool, but the M&P is also a really good tool once some of the shortcomings, the inefficiencies have been addressed by the aftermarket. And that's a great thing about capitalism. If there's something wrong with something, and enough people think there's something wrong with something, somebody is going to offer a solution for it. In this case, I have Agency Arms. Redoing the framework. Yeah, this particular slide has the gavel package on it, so I have really, really aggressive forward cocking serrations as well as the enhanced rear cocking serrations. I go with the irons forward. If you're curious why, there's a video on my YouTube channel as to why I prefer my irons forward of my optic. And Agency Arms' new armor stipple package. If you don't get anything else from Agency Arms, send in your gun to get the stipple package, because the armor package is super, super aggressive. Yes, it is going to be slightly, relatively speaking, more uncomfortable than a microdot stipple package if you carry concealed, especially appendix, but it's going to give you consistently better, way more aggressive grip, and it's going to take much longer for it to wear down over time. I don't really know what else to say about the 2.0 other than I think it's an awesome gun, and I'm glad that Agency was able to offer an M&P package, and Apex was able to get together with Agency Arms to offer the trigger until Agency Arms offers one of their own, which I hear is coming in the near future. Now, don't be surprised if down the road I end up using a different brand of firearm, because I like really good tools. I don't care who makes them. So I'm not going to wave the Glock flag or the M&P flag if something better comes along, or something that's more appealing to my taste with the same degree of quality comes along. But until that happens, my everyday carry is going to be the Agency Arms M&P 2.0 in 9mm. I'm Eric Howell with Sage Dynamics. Train accordingly.